All right, welcome everybody. Hey, we are here the third week of October. Y'all know what time it is. It's Bama, Tennessee. Bama traveling to Tennessee right now. Huge moment for both of these teams that have kind of had their, I don't want to say ups and downs, but definitely games where you look dominant one game and then the coming the following week and you kind of look a little shaky. I think Bama has been the more consistent of the two to this point, but still two very talented teams. Bama is both of y'all's teams, so I'm gonna hand it off to y'all. Y'all kind of give y'all spill, and I'll follow suit. But hey, tell me what y'all feeling going into this week.
Yeah. Bama, Tennessee rivalry game in Knoxville. Thinking about the magnitude of this game, I think it's really a playoff elimination game for both teams. Both teams, I think, lost a game that they shouldn't, which changed to the trajectory of this season for both teams. I'm gonna hone in on Bama because I'm a true at heart Bama fan. 2.5 weeks ago, I would have said anything about Bama getting to the national championship, if not the playoffs. To go from where we was at after winning that Georgia game, I really felt like, okay, yeah, it was a lot of Bama even being shocked about what they did against Georgia, which is what transpired in the second half of why Georgia came back the way they came back. But now I feel like the film is out on DeBoer and what this team is really going to be. On offense, I think that you have a quarterback in Jalen Milroe who sugarcoats a lot of what you actually are getting done on the field. Defense wise, you ain't doing a damn thing on the field. So I think outside of turnovers, this defense really to me will be a totally different defense than what we have in front of us as a Bama fan. So what does that mean for this season? I think we are fighting every single game as hoping not to get knocked out, hoping that we can land enough punches on the other team first before they actually hit that game-winning knockout punch that Vandy did against Bama. And I think that Georgia almost did against Bama, except it wasn't for Ryan Williams and his spectacular play. So I think Bama has to figure out how to dodge some of these knockout points on defense in the standpoint of being able to hold tough in games that you should be able to win. How do we do that? I think it's really just getting back to simplification of the offense and executing what we have in front of us. I think that Jalen Milroe to me is playing too much of hero. I want to be Heisman ball. And I think that's something that's got to be reined back in. He's such a dynamic player. You want to let him go on a lead off the leash and just say, go out there and play football because you know he's going 9 times out of 10 going to produce game-winning plays. So I think that type of dependability on Bama's offense is something that's got to change. We've got to be able to depend more on the whole as an offense and being able to win these games and being able to depend on different people in different moments. Offensive line, South Carolina was a moment of we facing two defensive ends that are just better than what we can really go up against on a Saturday basis. So I don't think that's going to happen again. But we do got to fix the issues on the offensive communication wise. I'm seeing too many people that are just getting through without no real restraints on the offensive line. I think that's something that will continue down the line because we're not going to face nothing but better defenses as we get further down the season. So I think Bama is in a complete panic mode when it comes to this team. And saying everything I've said so far concludes to the head coach and what is he going to do. I think so much is at stake for him right now as a head coach in Bama. And I think that myself included, fell victim to the early season success that he was able to have and say that, okay, he does have a Bama built team with just a new head coach and a new regime. Those cracks are coming through that armor really, really fast and at a standpoint, and I don't think that this team can uphold to where I felt like before the Georgia game, really not even before the Georgia game, at halftime at Georgia game, I said that teams are going to have to be worried to face us because of who Bama was as a team. That's how I felt at halftime. I was so happy I could no smile off my face. Now I'm at a complete 180. I'm like, I'm worried about us going against certain teams. And I think this Tennessee game is that prime time position. Now, pause on Bama for a second. Panic mode. Complete panic mode. Tennessee, y'all are so close to hitting the panic button as well that I feel like it's almost like hand on the button, like this close. Y'all are inches away from hitting the panic button. And I don't think that is something that is as hard to fix as Bama's concerns, which is where leading into this game, I think that both teams are in a position where whoever gets the problems fixed now is going to win the game. But for Tennessee, I think it's more of a rhythm concern more than overall talent or game plan concern. You just had in that game against Arkansas, and I feel like it was that through that 9 minute drive, it just put so much ice on that offense that they just could not get back going. Nico in particularly, which is something I didn't think I was going to say with the projector who I had him as a quarterback. But first true year as a starter, I think he's going through the woes of a starting quarterback early in his career. So I think if he gets it right, Tennessee is back on the trajectory that they were going to. Bama is the perfect team for them to get this shit right against. And I hate to say that as a Bama fan. I really do, just because I feel like this defense, if there's no pressure on Nico this game, the defense is not going to be able to stop anything that Hypo throws at him. And I think that's what's going to be so concerning for. So, long story short, Bama, Tennessee, this season, I got a shootout waiting to happen. I got a true 40-point shootout waiting to happen. I think it's going to be a picture of Bama's defense just has no answers for Tennessee's offense. No answers. I don't care if they run the ball or pass the ball, juggle it off your foot all the way down the field. I don't think Bama's defense is going to have an answer for the offense. Just not a clue. But I also think the same thing for Tennessee's defense. I don't think they're going to have a clue on how to stop Jalen Milroe. It's all going to be on his path on, are you going to be an efficient Milroe, or are you going to be a wobbly, shaky in confidence, shaky in decision making, turnover Milroe? It's two sides of that coin, which I think we're going to get one that's going to be confident. So when I think about this game, I think you really have to look back at, I don't know what year it was off the top of my head, maybe 2022 against Bama. At last time Bryce Young was down there and it got to a point where it was a true shootout. And I think that game was you're going to be in for when it comes to this game right here. I think a field goal decides it. And I think there's going to be something that Tennessee's going to be able to kick a late game field goal from a late drive where Nico doesn't run out of bounds this time and actually gets his team in position to be able to score points on the board late in the game. I think I got Tennessee actually beating Bama, and nothing more than it just being a home field advantage in this game, and a Bama team that just has too many questions than what we have answers for right now. So Bama and Debo, last point I'll make on y'all. I pray to God this doesn't come into a four-loss Alabama team. I pray that it doesn't come to that. But I think that Tennessee, going to Tennessee and going to LSU is going to be two things that we just cannot overcome at this point in the season. So we're at a true coaching job for Debo. Your true coaching nature is going to come out in this game right here in the next couple of weeks for you and to see what you really pull out your bag. Because, Sean, you've said so much this season that he's been holding stuff back. And I believed it early. I got weary on it a couple weeks ago at the second half of Georgia. I got super weary on it against Vandy, but I still felt like we had the better team so we could make the plays. South Carolina, I lost all that weariness in his potential to be able to pull something out of his sleeve. I said, okay, cool. If you just got people against you that are just so much better than you talent wise, I don't think your scheme leads up to that win like I thought it was. I thought South Carolina last week gave that game up more chances than Bama took that game away from them. Tennessee is not going to be a team that's going to be
Holding.
able to be a team that's going to give up those type of things because you got a quarterback who's going to be able to capitalize on the easy things that Bama is giving teams down in and down out. So I think Bama's in for a long game. I just hope the offense can stay true to him. I think we got an offense that can really put up points if we're efficient and not slapping ourselves in the face, shooting ourselves in the foot. So Bama, my rant is over. I give up as of right now on what this season is going to produce in the long runs, and I'm so focused on in-game adjustments that I'm a week guy when it comes to Bama. So this week I got us losing by a field goal. I'm not even gonna say anything about next week, but Tennessee, I think that y'all can get answers to y'all questions faster than Bama can. So y'all gonna be able to succeed in this game right here. But it got a shootout, field goal decision. Think a lot like the Bama Tennessee 2022 game with Bryce Young fighting for his life in Knoxville. I think Jalen Milroe is going to be in that type of atmosphere.
Yeah, you're 1,000% correct. It's very unfortunate that I'm sitting here about to say what I'm about to say, but Tennessee's going to win this game, and it really has everything, in my opinion, to do with Alabama's defensive scheme. The scheme. Um, we're running a 3-3-5 defense, which is designed to stop the pass. Okay. Um, I can't quite fathom how this defensive staff and Kalen DeBoer has signed off on this. How are you going to try to stop SEC teams from running the football in a 3-3-5? So what happens is, for y'all that don't know, you got three down linemen and they walk a linebacker down on the edge, whether it's on the strong side or the weak side, and they walk them down and give you a 4-2-5 look. But at the end of the day, it's 3-3-5. This guy backs out of the box every time. And what you end up with is running lanes that are so you could drive a Mack truck through these rush lanes. Okay. Why they haven't figured out that the time of possession bug is the way it is because you're allowing teams to run the football on you. These are things that never happened in the Nick Saban era. You were never allowed to run the football on Alabama. You had to throw it to win. Nick Saban relied on great quarterback play on the other side of the field to, if you're going to beat him, it's got to be because of great quarterback play. Never was it about good running back play. Who does that? Why are we in a 3-3-5 in SEC football? Now, go back and look at the defensive coordinator that Alabama currently has. He was the head coach at South Alabama. I'm not knocking this. This guy's got an opportunity. This is what you did at South Alabama. Okay. Maybe it works there. It don't translate here. And I'm just trying to figure out why we don't understand that it's not working. It's not working. Now, the best thing I saw against South Carolina from Alabama's defense was when, Lord help, they were sending 7 players at the end of the game when Carolina had an opportunity to score and win. You finally decided to blitz. This guy won't even blitz. He won't even put pressure on the quarterback. And I'm just trying to figure out why. So, like, talent to talent. Okay, you got a very young secondary. How do you help a young secondary out? You force the quarterback, you make him uncomfortable. These quarterbacks, y'all, have all day against us. They have all day to do whatever they want to do. The running backs can pick their gap, A gap, B gap. You can pick your gap where you want to go. This has never been the case in a traditional Nick Saban coach defense, right? This is all about defense to me. The offense is fine, if you ask me. The problem is the defense ain't giving the offense a chance to get a break, to catch their breath, to get back on the field with a solid game plan to come down and score. Um, Defensively, we are absolutely awful. We're awful. And for that reason, we're going to lose this game against Tennessee. And Drew, I don't think it's going to be by a field goal. I think we get drummed by Tennessee. This is an away game. This is it's going to be so embarrassing to the point to where Tennessee fans ain't even going to worry about the goalpost. Ain't even going to worry about it. They did that 2 years ago against Bama. You know, it's not even going to be that. The defensive coordinator, has to go. The sooner you let him go, the better. But the problem with all this is I'm listening to Kalen DeBoer's interviews or whatever. He don't see a problem with nothing. He's like, we fought hard, we won a tight game. This is not what you do with Alabama. You don't fight hard and win tough games. You dominate at Alabama, right? You talk about like beating Oregon twice last year in the Pac-12. This is not the same conference. We ain't talking about one team that's the. We got a bunch of teams in the SEC that's really good. I am legitimately disappointed in Kalen DeBoer and his leadership. What we're seeing is a lack of discipline in multiple areas. I ain't talking about Malachi Moore just kicking the ball, you know what I'm saying, when the game was over last week. I'm talking about the kid got the interception in the end zone against SC and almost knelt the ball down for a god doggone safety to tie the game to go to overtime. If Malachi Moore didn't tell homeboy to get out the god doggone end zone, we'd be playing overtime probably still today. I'm talking about a lack of discipline, everything. It's just different. And I think it's just, as Bama fans, I guess we're gonna have to just get used to this. You know what I'm saying? I hate it. Maybe it worked in the Pac-12. Obviously, it did. It's not this don't travel. This does not, and it's not going to travel to Tennessee. It's not going to travel. The secondary is too porous. The scheme is not good enough. Tennessee is gonna. It's so unfortunate for me to say this. Tennessee, as bad as they're struggling, they're going to find their legs this weekend at home against Alabama, and it's just very disappointing. Tennessee, on the other hand, you know, they've got a very young quarterback that we praise. I praise Nico. But he's a freshman. You know what I'm saying? In a really good offensive system. I've got a lot more confidence in what Tennessee has going on right now than Alabama got going on right now. And I never thought I'd live to see to say that, but that's exactly where we are in this situation. And these guys are playing this weekend at 2:30. Tennessee is going to jump out on Alabama offensively because our defense absolutely sucks. And there's nothing that we can do about it. There's absolutely nothing we can do about it. And for me, that's very, very, very disappointing in our coaching staff. If I see this guy come out in a 3-3-5 on Saturday, I promise you my doggone TV may end up on the god doggone floor. I'm done.
And I feel you. And I think there's so much that goes into that, Sean, that is disappointing is on top of what everything you're saying. I think when you think about Debo in the media, I think the reason why he says what he's saying is because that's the only thing he can really harp on that's a positive standpoint. And because when you're a coach that have no answers, you ain't got nothing else to say, but we fought hard and we won a game. That's all that you got. You don't have anything else to say. You don't know how to fix these problems, especially with what you got. Nick Saban has an office still at the stadium. You got to be getting his office with him and get some coaching lessons done on how to fix this type of season just because the issues are too big at this point. It's really too big. And I hate sound like this as a Bama fan. And I pray one week soon I can get past this Nick Saban Debo comparison because we're not in that era no more. And I'm sorry, Nick. I see how much fun you having on TV just because I know you so stress-free not having to be on this coaching sideline, coaching his teams through the chaos it is in the SEC. But for Bama, I think to be able to find a victory in this game, I think there's 2 points we got to be able to do. One, we can't let Nico, if this defense is meant to stop the pass, I'd rather get into the game that Florida got into versus Tennessee and them not being able to pass the ball. I'd rather say if we're going to give you one or the other, we'll give you 150 yards rushing in this game versus a 280-yard passing game. I think I'd rather be in store for that game right there than for the latter. But I don't think that Bama's defense is capable. The reason why, Sean, I go against this game being almost close to a blowout is just because of Jalen Milroe. And it's just because of who he is. And I think where he was last year this time versus where he is this year this time is a complete 180, completely different player. And I think he has the capability, if he's confident in the game plan, he can go out there and make as many plays as he wants to. The other standpoint about Bama is we got to find a run game outside of Milroe. Tremendously. And I think that really just starts with the offensive line. I see the offensive line getting a good early push, but I just don't see them consistently getting to that second level when it comes to the run game. And I think that's something that is just going to have to get fixed. But going back to my point before we finish this off, like I said, Bama has too many questions than they do answers. Tennessee's questions are way more easy to answer than Bama's, which in this game right here, at this point in the season, we're just at a two points where I don't think that one team can come back from it. And I think the loser of this game season really falls down the drain when it comes to how many more big time wins can you roll off, because they're getting low. The season is getting to the last real month of the game to really prove what you got to put forth. So I just don't think that things can be fixed. So Bama, DeBoer, I really can't. I don't even feel good calling you a whole ass name because I called you Debo for so long. But I'm getting tired of calling you Debo. You're not Debo no more. You're not the bully on the block. You stay getting knocked out, and we just got to see what this weekend's going to pull forward for Bama. And I don't think I'm confident in it. But I'm gonna sit back and watch. I got my popcorn ready because with the offense that we do have, a lot of spectacular things that we've seen throughout the season can happen, and Tennessee has been letting some walk away. So we'll see how this week plays out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna have to be mistakes on Tennessee's side of the ball that assists us in winning this game. And hopefully we get out of this 3-3-5.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's not what's up. I ain't done the research on this, but I want to know. If anybody knows this, I'll figure it out. But if y'all know how many successful college football teams are running defense successfully in a 3-3-5, I usually see 4 down linemen, you know what I'm saying, 3 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs. That's what we saw in Tuscaloosa with Nick Saban. You know what I'm saying? You got pressure with 4 down. You send blitzes when it was time to send blitzes. Your back 5 was able to do what they needed to do. But the quarterback didn't have time to do nothing. We ain't disrupting the quarterback. Quarterbacks are currently, if you want to draw up some plays, some brand new plays, do them against Bama defense right now, because you're going to have all day. You're going to have all day. And I'm just trying to figure out why in the world y'all over there making all this doggone money and then sitting in these nice facilities trying to figure out how y'all going to disrupt the quarterback. And the quarterback is not a problem to y'all. It ain't a problem, but it's been a problem. And Nico going to burn us if we send three defensive linemen at Nico. Man, it's a wrap early. I'm telling you, I'm pissed off. I can't believe y'all making this kind of money to run this bull job defense y'all running. Y'all got talent down there, and you sending 3 people at the god doggone quarterback and refuse to blitz. Man, listen, y'all deserve it. Man, I'm out.
Yeah. And last point. I do want to harp on that real quick, though, the 3-3-5. I think what's really complicated in Debo's mind is he doesn't know how to give up on players. My thing is, in a normal 3-3-5, you got 3 dominant linemen on the field. We're still subbing in our defensive ends for linebackers in that 3-3-5. So it's not even a traditional 3-3-5. It's really like a 1-3 something, like a 1-4 something in that aspect, a 1-4-5. And it's like so many different just things that we dealing with on the defensive side of the ball that just doesn't fit what we have in our players. The scheme for defenses, more than a scheme for offense, has to fit the players you are playing on the field. You cannot have small linebacker type guys going against these SEC linemen. It's not the Pac-12 no more. You're facing grown-ass men who've been in the weight room since they was 10 years old in the South. These guys do not leave the weight room. They big ready for these type of moments. So if you don't have a way to apply pressure, I don't care what defense you put on there. You can rush one guy. You could rush 10 guys, which I felt like late in that game, Sean Bama was about to do it. I felt like they was about to send everybody but one and just leave him back there to make the play. Because I feel like even on the game where the play where they threw the interception late in the game where he about took the safety, I'm like, I was dreading what I saw at the defensive line because in 3-3-5, you're supposed to have so much freedom to disguise your defense. Roll coverages, shell coverages, do anything you need to do to confuse the defense. But if I get all day long to throw the ball, I'm going to dice you up. Bama yet has seen a quarterback outside, not even really Vandy's quarterback. He just had spectacular plays. A quarterback that can sit back there and be a pocket passer and dice a team up. Nico, I don't care what you've seen in the past couple weeks. He's that guy. So the 3-3-5 has to change, in my opinion, Sean. Not because of the players we got on the field. It's because of what you're trying to get done with the scheme has gone multiple games, multiple weeks without being successful. Point blank, point blank, clear. And this is a place that, as Bama fans, we have never been before in the Nick Saban era with the defense that will not make adjustments to do what's better for the defense. I remember in the game, almost the COVID year, the year after the COVID year, Bama's defense for the first 3 weeks was one of the worst defenses ever. We just had Bryce Young in his first year putting up Heisman Trophy numbers to be able to combat that. So that's what we was able to get back from. But that season, to me, I saw so many adjustments where at the end of the season, I was still like, okay, cool. We got a way to succeed now on defense because we know what we're trying to put teams into. This defense right here, I don't see them having those answers at all. And I'm like, I see guys on the defense that are guys, that are men. That I'm like, if this was Nick Saban defense, we would be dominating on defense. Damani Jackson is not no slouch. Keon Sav, I went back and did research on him. He's not no slouch as a safety position. Malachi Moore, granted for what you've been for 5 years, you're not no slouch.
Now,
we got true freshmen that are playing big time roles in our secondary that are not slouches. So it's like, okay, cool. Y'all not just being put in position to succeed. And I think that this week is not going to be a position where that happens and that gets fixed. So it's going to be a lot to watch. But that's enough that we've talked about on this game right here. I think as Bama fans coming back this time next week, every single body that watches this video right here will have to tune in for what we're going to have to say next week. Because it's either going to be, we're going to hit the blow up button on this organization or this conference or this reign that Debo's going to have, or we're going to be surviving with a snorkel trying to stay above water and how much we can breathe through that tube. And I don't think it's much that we're going to get granted. So Bama versus Tennessee is going to be one for the ages. There's so much on the line for this game right here. But who's going to come out on top? It is yet to see.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a good ball game. Everybody have to tune in. Like you said, hey, come back next week and check us out because we'll definitely have a reaction for this. Probably go live on Sunday if we got the time to do it too, to make sure everybody tunes into that.